Hi everyone and welcome back to Internet Music Blog. My name is Roman and I want to welcome you to our next video review. Today we are going to talk about yet another black metal release. We are going to talk about Bestialis and their latest and first release, Ritus. So this was kind of surprise drop. As far as I know, Vendetta Records, which is the label that also brought out this record, didn't announce anything before the release, so I was kind of surprised. So Bestialis, first of all, is a black metal band coming from Bochum and consists of only two members, both of which, however, also have a wider history in the music culture around here in Western Germany. First of all, we have Malte, who is Las Toros, who might be a name to you already for also organizing the quite well-known Kultefest in Münster that was unfortunately cancelled last year with quite a big lineup because of probably known reasons. And apart from that, we have Stefan as Absorber, who is primarily known to me from his band Cerebral Invasion, where he also plays, because of the fact that the drummer of Cerebral Invasion is also a good friend of mine. So what you get when first listening into this release is you start off with a clean intro. You have 4 tracks, one of which is the entire intro track. That starts off clean, immediately crushes into, or first of all merges this black metal sound with the clean sound, and then on the second track immediately crushes into pretty straightforward black metal tone. You have fast drumming, you have quite classical black metal riffing. But apart from that, there's also quite a progression going on in this release, which means that this black metal tone that comes up on the second track does not stay for long. Apart from that, you can find pretty classical black metal vocals, but there's also more to this we're going to talk about later. And especially the ambience, the entire topic that sets the frame for this release is pretty much what I think is the most outstanding factor on the entire release. So before going into the lyrics of this album, especially when you take a closer look at the promotional text that can be read on the Bandcamp page of this band, for example, you get to know that there is mentioning of an interest in Middle Eastern music. And when you hear Middle Eastern music, you might think, or might immediately think of current Middle Eastern music. However, when Bestialis talks about this kind of music, they are most probably not going to talk about current Middle Eastern music, because as you can also get to know from this release when listening deeper into it, there's a broad interest in Middle East, talking about Mesopotamia and Sumerian cultures. This gets quite evident when entering the second track, Reincantation, that takes a glance back at the beginning of mankind, so the emergence of mankind, and stating that when mankind emerged, you first of all had quite a lust for life, as it is said, that was then, however, deterred because of the fact of false morality that was brought to humanity, and then kind of going away from the animalistic behaviors humans also carry, and moving forward towards morality that is not natural to mankind. Listening to this or reading this already reminded me a lot of Nietzsche's On the Genealogy of Morality, that kind of quite takes a similar step towards the emergence of mankind and the further development of morality and Christianity, kind of deterring this sense of morality. And reading these lyrics reminded me of that a lot, first of all. But apart from that, this first track also already mentions the emergence of something that is described with several aspects that you might first of all think that what is being described is Satan. However, when listening closer into the text that is going to come, you're going to know that it's not about Satan. But nevertheless, I like the fact that These lyrics kind of mix the emergence of mankind with vocabulary that kind of also lets you think about the fact that this might also be about the emergence of black metal as well, because you have very selected vocabulary that mixes especially the emergence of this entity that comes up, the protagonist in this on this album, as well as statements like the beginning of mankind with a blaze in the sky, which is kind of quite a bold allusion. The third track, which is Urveneration, is not as dense as the track before. However, this track basically functions as a certain chant. You feel the summoning of something. Most probably, on this track, something is summoned to get back into time that is already talked about on the track before. So you are most probably going to summon the thing that was already described on Reincantation. On this track, though, you get to know the framework of the entire EP, because on this track, it's the first time that a certain god is mentioned that especially points at the Epic of Gilgamesh, that is also mentioned in the title of the fourth track as well. The fourth and final track, Non-Domestication, which kind of quite connects to the lyrics of the second track, eventually is the track in which you get to know what this thing is that was described on Reincantation and was kind of summoned on the third track as well. And this is also the track that eventually blatantly connects this EP to Mesopotamian and time and Sumerian culture, because of the fact that it also has the title The Fall of Gilgamesh. So this connects to the Epic of Gilgamesh. So this track opens up quite similar to the narrative of the Epic of Gilgamesh. You have the god Anu and the goddess Ishtar, who is the daughter of Anu, and you have Ishtar asking for the bull of heaven to be sent to earth in order to kill Gilgamesh. However, this fourth track changes the narrative of the Epic of Gilgamesh, because in the original epic, the bull of heaven is sent to earth, and Gilgamesh and his friend kill the bull. However, the gods then kill Gilgamesh's friend, and Gilgamesh kind of starts questioning his mortality and stuff like that. However, in this song, on this track, the bull of heaven is sent to earth, and when coming down to earth, the bull of heaven then kills Gilgamesh and his friends, and also kills the gods. So you don't have any constraints anymore for the bull of heaven, and you then are pretty much free from any outer restrictions. So how are all of those bold and deep lyrics conveyed on this release? First of all, I think one of the most important factors is, as I already mentioned, coming from the guitars. In the beginning, you start with quite a classic black metal tone, black metal sound, especially on the guitars and also on the drums. However, all of those acoustic sequences pretty much step into the forefront quite fast. And I think, in my opinion, this is a very different usage of those acoustic parts. So primarily when listening to black metal, you always have acoustic parts that kind of set the stop, try to stop the entire sound, the entire speed on the track, to then have a possibility to get back and to build up again. However, on this album, or EP, not album, those acoustic parts serve the function of conveying summoning points on the entire EP, especially on the third track where the entire summoning takes place. these acoustic parts, and especially also the singing that is connected to those acoustic parts, feels as if you're not stepping back from the sound, but you are going back to the roots, trying to summon what you are trying to summon. And with this summoning process, the progress on this album also goes forward. When on the second track, you first of all start off with quite a clear black metal tone, especially during and after the third track. The guitars change a lot. When they were playing very straightforward riffing, black metal riffing on the second track, you already have outbreaks on the third track, and especially on the fourth track, you break free from all those classical black metal riffing. Nevertheless, it's not only the guitar riffing that constructs this bold feeling on this EP. It's also coming from the vocals as well. The lyrics, as already mentioned and taking quite of a big part of this review, are definitely a major aspect when looking at this EP. However, apart from that, also the throat singing, the classical throat singing that is taking place on this release, especially during those acoustic chant singing parts, also, first of all, convey this summoning atmosphere, and secondly also embraces this Sumerian ancient cultural influence that is supposed to be conveyed on this release. However, this is not everything. Next to the, apart from that, also very, very good black metal singing that is absolutely understandable, which is very, very important on this release. You also have layering of vocals on especially the second and the third track. So the layering of this sound takes place with black metal vocals in the forefront. However, you have clean singing going on top, layered in the back, which means that you have quite an interesting combination of vocals on this release as well. You don't have mere black metal vocals in your face, but you also have quite melodic singing on top of that. And on the third track, which is also a little slower and also already coming from this chant-wise structure, changes and alters this black metal tone. On this track, you have also vocals layered on top. However, these vocals are more like screaming in the background, which feels or kind of reminds of suicidal depressive black metal tone only on the vocals, but not on the guitars and the rest of the instrumentation. So conclusively, the strength of this release by Bestialis does not only come from the two factors I talked about before, which is the lyrics and also the strong instrumentation, but especially the combination of those two aspects. So you don't have the narrative that is taking place on those 4 tracks. You also have the instrumentation that underlines everything that is happening throughout this entire narrative that is taking place on this release. So if you miss Bestialis' latest output, you should definitely go and check out this release. I think it's a very strong EP, and probably a lot of us is interested in what's going to come next from this band. Apart from that, thanks for listening, thanks for paying attention. I hope you enjoyed the video review. Shout outs to all of the Transcendent Music Blog crew. See you next time and stay safe.